Make sure my pen is up and running here so I can draw. Happy Saturday. Getting this video off a little later than normal today, but I'm going to start with the Eastern or Western Hemisphere and Eastern Hemisphere satellite loop here combined, and just highlight a few areas in the tropics that we're looking at for development. This has been identified as an area by the National Hurricane Center with a 20% chance of development in the next 7 days. However, if it does develop, it will likely encounter hostile conditions when it gets close to the Lesser Antilles, which is not unusual this time of year. The winds and shear in this area are typically not that favorable right now, and this is an interesting phenomenon that occurs. It's called the Kelvin wave, and what it does, I think it's pretty cool, really. You have a tropical wave that comes off Africa. It's kind of a trough axis. My drawing's not that great. I apologize. Anyway, do that. Anyway, you get the point. What happens is, because of the Coriolis force, which is the spinning of the Earth, which typically forces either, I'm kind of geeking out right now, so forgive me, forces systems, once they reach above, say, 10 north or 10 south latitude, to turn to the right. So systems such as tropical systems coming out of this area, the perceived spin in the atmosphere, perceived spin of the Earth, and let's just say you shoot a missile this way, and the Earth is moving underneath you. Of course, it's not going to end up in the same place because the Earth is moving. So that's how the Coriolis force works, if that makes any sense. In the same respect, like systems move through the flow this way, tend to want to head off to the north. So in this instance, this tropical wave is kind of, because of the Coriolis force, it's kind of stuck. Kelvin wave is kind of stuck between in the intertropical convergence zone, and typically tropical systems is about 10 north. There's not enough spin for them to develop, and maybe a little 15 north, but require just enough spin for the Coriolis force to be a factor to initiate cyclogenesis, as one of the factors anyway. So if the north end of the system should reach enough latitude and cyclogenesis occurs, then you have an incipient, like a seedling for a tropical system to develop. And that's what the National Hurricane Center is keen on right here. I don't see this being a threat to anybody. Maybe a fish tropical storm. Maybe if you know some fish out there, you can warn them that you might get some storms coming. But it's really an interesting feature, and I think Kelvin waves, and I'm kind of a weather geek, as you all know. So Um, Pretty cool. We'll see what happens here. We'll just see what happens. I think it's kind of neat to be able to observe this without really hurting anybody. Another area of interest in the tropics, not close to home, not really the tropics, so to speak, but off the East Coast of the U.S. I know the National Hurricane Center hasn't highlighted this area yet, but I want to show you what they have right now. This is the percent chance of development. So they're kind of showing how there's 15 north, 10 north is right about there. So if it gets into that area, is able to develop a circulation under some convection, it could develop a tropical storm, maybe a tropical depression. But I doubt it'll get any stronger than that. So back to close to home here. I'm going to spend quite a bit of time on the tropics today, and the other thing I'm really going to talk about is the heat too. That's a big story as well. Um, Most of the models, at least the ensembles, are indicating in the next 3 or 4 days some energy is going to move offshore here, and it looks to me like there's going to be a surface trough that's going to develop in this area. You can see maybe the beginnings of it now, and leave some energy behind, and maybe spin up another um, system off the southeast coast. And whether this is like leftover energy from was 93L, I really, it's hard to really say. But we got a ridge over the south here. We have flow going around this ridge. Kind of a vague drawing, like a basic drawing, but all this energy is being kind of would sit here, right? And this is what I can tell left of 93L right there. And maybe some other energy that went up this way. Some low level swirl circulation, some moisture. Anyway, there's a lot of energy being propagated right off the coast here when you have a surface trough in place. Um, Low pressure can form and then something could develop. And if it interacts, positive interaction there, you could get a tropical depression or storm to form, or non-tropical storm, or extratropical. Um, so that's that. And what I wanted to show you next was the the ensembles. And so um, I'm going to go over the stuff close to home because I think that's most important. Not spend a lot of time on the tropical Atlantic right now. And this is uh, the European ensemble, which consists of 51 members. And these numbers here represent, each number represents a model ensemble member, and the last 2 digits indicates 2 digits of the pressure. So what you're seeing here is it's saying it'll be a low. It thinks the average of all those is 1014 millibars, which is quite high actually, not very low at all. But you see what resembles a surface trough extending down here with this low pressure on the end of it. Anyway, I would say maybe there's 20, 30 members there that agree that something will be there, with more concentrated along the southeast coast. And what gets me is that most of the other ensembles, oops, agree. And this is the icon, which is a Korean icon, the EPS, which is an icon model, which is a Korean model. and the European combined. It doesn't show a defined area of low pressure, but it does show some members thinking to be something there. The icon is sometimes it can really be on, but for the last AL93, the one down here, it didn't perform really well. It predicted a lot stronger storm than actually happened, and probably because it kept the energy off the coast here. So the next ensemble is the Canadian. I really don't know how many members it has, but there's maybe 10 here that agree that something will be there, more concentrated on the southeast coast again. Uh, We'll go back to the GFS, which is the American model. I apologize here for doing this on the fly, but okay. So we're going out 722. Again, the American model agrees with the other models. Will be something off the coast there. And what it wants to do, I don't typically rely on the GFS by itself for modeling stuff like this because it tends to be too aggressive sometimes. But given the agreement with all the other members, you see he wants to do with this low pressure, move it down through Georgia and kind of loses it right there. So it kind of remains to be seen what happens with that. But at the very least, we're going to look at let's take a look what the thesis precip will be. Some more enhanced precipitation along the coast here during that time. One more model is the did I do the EPSAI already? No. EPSAI. It's really hinting that something will be there. See all those members that agree? It's a pretty strong signal, and I'm not questioning National Hurricane Center, but I'm wondering why there hasn't been an outlook posted. I personally think that I'm drinking coffee. I apologize. I personally think that they're gonna post something about this maybe at 8 a.m. today or at 2. These models have agreed for quite a while now. Another output we can look at is this is the Weather Lab Cyclones preview by Google AI. It has the European ensembles and high-res models, what their output is, and their experimental models and genetic graph models. So if you go through time here, you can see our system out here. Kind of fizzles out, and then you have potentially something out here, something along the Gulf Coast, and possibly something out in the Atlantic, deep tropical Atlantic. Although I'm kind of suspicious of that, given the dry air around there, but it's pretty low latitude, so might have a chance to see that one by Puerto Rico dissipates some. But you have your low pressure here, kind of a broad area there, one out here in the North Atlantic. That may be non-tropical. I don't know what this can do, but yeah, possibly one out here and one along the Lesser Antilles. So this gives me even more confidence that something may develop in the coming days. I wouldn't expect that if we do get development off the coast, southeast coast would be very strong. At least the models are indicating that right now, but that's in the short term, really could. Um, the tropical activity seems to be picking up. So anyway, next I'm going to go over the heat risk because I think that's very important. It's going to be very, very hot in the coming week or so, and I'll go over the extended climate outlook for heat and precipitation in the coming days. So as far as the current hazards go, I'm going to start with that first. Um, we have uh, heat advisories all along the southeast coast in the Florida, flood watch in the mid-Atlantic states. Looks like a severe thunderstorm watch up here in the Ohio Valley with a flood watch just to the east. Have a extreme heat watch right below that, and then you have extreme heat warning, which is that's pretty bad. Temperatures can be very hot in this area, humid, and you also have a flood watch along the Gulf Coast again here, Louisiana. Uh, and then to the south of that, you got a heat advisory. What's driving all this? Well, so just to see, we're going to review the maximum temps here. Let me switch over. Okay. Max temps, you can see this is air temperature. This isn't like the heat index. So you can see all, how high the temperature is going to be, especially in the middle part of the country. That's why they have these heat advisories and stuff like that. It's going to stay very hot. I mean, there's not a lot of relief. The only relief may come is possible moisture comes back on the southeast coast over here and cloud cover and holds down temps a little bit. You can see that over here in the southeast. Temperatures seem to moderate just a hair, even though it's still hot. But through day 7, it gets really hot through a good portion of the nation. And if we look at the model output for the heat index, as we go through time here, a lot of 100s and 90s go through time. I mean, well, the hundreds in the deep south, southeast, 107. Oh man, that's getting me hot. That's your real field temps. That's how it feels to you when you go outside, and that's almost unbearable. Temps. This is Tuesday. Real field temps 107, 108, 105. A lot of moisture in place here. You can see the areas where the most moisture is and the hottest temps are. Again, moving up into upper Midwest. This is bad up here because I've said before in these areas they don't have the infrastructure to really deal with this kind of heat. I mean, we're talking almost 110 degrees feels like outside. So if you haven't already, make sure your air conditioning works right and it's serviced. I hate for it to break down in the middle of today, but you can see going forward, it's just incessant heat wave. Moves back west a little bit, the most extreme temps, heat index values. We're talking into 7 days from now. Still very, very hot in a good portion of the country. No real relief in sight, to be honest with you. this is incredible. Look at these heat index values in the upper Midwest forecast. 112. That's that's just that's unbearable. Um, so it seems to be moderated a little bit, maybe towards the 29th, 10 days out. And that's as far as I'm going to go, but up in the Great Lakes area, Northeast, Mid Atlantic, but then deep South and the Midwest is not going to catch a break. Although maybe we'll see some relief at the end of the period, with heat returning all the way up into Canada, North Dakota, South Dakota, 104 heat index. Wow. Okay. So, so what's driving all this? Well, first of all, this is something the National Weather Service put out yesterday, where the highest risk today through Tuesday is along and east of the Mississippi River, pretty much, except for some of these states here. But um, major to extreme risk, you can read here, high risk greater than 60% chance continues. And then for the central U.S. and part of the southeast during the rest of July. And you can see a high risk through the end of July and into the 1st of August. Right here. Well, so the 26th to the 28th, a moderate risk through the up to about here. Then you have a moderate risk in the Carolinas and northeast Georgia. Basic theme is it's going to be hotter than Hades, and I hate to say it that way, but might as well be prepared for it. And if we're looking about the forecast, the rain chances for north and central Georgia, this is something the National Weather Service put out. Afternoon, evening thunderstorms possibly each day through midweek. Chances tapering off beginning Thursday. And thunderstorm coverage greatest Tuesday and Wednesday. So any place that gets storms, hopefully that'll provide us some relief. And that potential system off the southeast coast may give us a little bit relief as it brings enough moisture and clouds into our area, and hopefully that'll be the case. Anyway, I'll be providing updates on what I see going forward with the heat and the tropics. I appreciate y'all tuning in today, and like and subscribe if you don't mind, and share with your friends. Have a good day.